They said they wanted to celebrate with me, which was strange, because they never had before. My daughter's voice came through the phone bright and quick, like she was already halfway out the door. No small talk. No how are you feeling lately. Just straight to it. Mom, you're turning 70. That's a big one. We should do something. Should, not want. I felt that difference right away, even if I didn't let myself say it. 70. I laughed softly. That sounds serious. She laughed too, but it didn't quite land. Like a beat late. Brad and I were talking, and we thought you should come out. Here, California. We'll throw you a party, family, cake, the kids. The kids, she always said that part fast. For me, I asked. There was a pause. Just a second, but I heard it. Yeah, for you, she said. Same tone, same speed. Like she'd rehearsed it. My chest tightened anyway. Hope doesn't ask permission. It just shows up. I sat down at my kitchen table. My tea had gone cold, a thin skin floating on top. Well, I was just gonna cook something, I said carefully. Maybe invite Carol from next door. No, Mom, she said quickly. Too quickly. Don't do that. Just come here. We'll handle everything. We'll handle everything. She wrapped it up fast after that. Said she had to run. Yoga class. Or the kids. Or something. Promised we'd talk details later. We didn't. After the call, the house felt louder than usual. The fridge hummed. The clock ticked. My own breathing sounded heavy, like I'd just run somewhere. I opened my laptop. The flight cost $340. I stared at it. That wasn't fun money. That was don't get sick money. What if the AC breaks money? What if I live longer than expected? My finger hovered over the mouse. Clicking the purchase felt like stepping onto ice and pretending it wasn't thin. I did it anyway. My hands were shaking when the confirmation email popped up. I wiped my eyes with the heel of my palm, annoyed with myself. Get it together, I whispered. My breath hitched, just once. The next day, I went shopping. Real shopping. The kind I usually avoid, because mirrors can be cruel. I tried on 3 dresses. One made me look tired. One made me disappear. Then the navy one. Pearl buttons. Simple.com. It didn't beg to be seen. It just stood there, like it knew its worth. That's the one, the saleswoman said. She asked if it was for something special. My daughter's throwing me a birthday party, I said. Saying it out loud almost broke me. My throat tightened. My eyes burned. I turned away, pretending to check the fabric while I pulled myself back together. I bought the shoes. Sensible heels. And perfume Chanel No. 5. Her favorite. I probably shouldn't have. I did it anyway. 3 days before the flight, I called Jessica. No answer. I left a voicemail. Texted right after. Read. Nothing. I told myself all the usual lies. She's busy. I'm over. Don't be needy. Still, something felt off. Like a picture hung just a little crooked. I noticed it. I just refused to straighten it. The morning of the flight. I woke up at 4 a.m. My heart was racing like I'd missed an alarm. I packed slowly. Dress, shoes, sweater, perfume, gifts for the kids. My hands shook again when I zipped the suitcase. At the airport, everyone seemed to know exactly where they were going. I moved slower. Watching families laugh, hug, reunite. I imagined her smile. The cake, the photos. I held on to that image tighter than my boarding pass. But under it all, fear hummed, low, persistent. Like my body knew something my heart wasn't ready to hear. I thought I was flying toward a celebration. I didn't know I was walking straight into being forgotten, where everyone could see it. Lax hits you all at once. Noise, heat, people moving like they've got somewhere better to be. I stepped outside arrivals and the sun slapped me in the face brighter than Arizona somehow, sharper. I checked the sign. B4. That's where she picked me up last time. 3 years ago. I remembered it clearly because she was late then too, but at least she came. 2:47 p.m. I rolled my suitcase to the curb and stood there, clutch purse tight in my hand like it could anchor me. I told myself not to rush it. Traffic in LA is a nightmare. Everybody knows that. 5 minutes passed. 10. People reunited around me. Loud hellos, squeals, a guy lifting his kid like it was a movie scene. Someone crying happy tears. A man holding a sign that said "Welcome home" in crooked letters. Nobody was looking for me. 2:58. I checked my phone. No messages. I called her. Ring, ring, ring. Voicemail. I hung up without leaving one. I didn't want to sound needy. God forbid. 3:10. My feet started hurting. I shifted my weight, pretending I was just stretching, not waiting. Sitting down on my suitcase like that was the plan all along. I texted her. "I'm here, arrivals B for..." It was read almost immediately. No reply. That's when the unease stopped being quiet. Something crawled into my chest, slow and cold. That feeling you get when you realize you might be the only one who didn't get the memo. I told myself not to spiral. She probably put her phone down. Maybe Brad's driving. Maybe. 3:25. I called Brad. No answer. I laughed under my breath. A dry, stupid laugh. "Okay," I whispered. "Okay." By 3:30, my back hurt. My pride hurt worse. I stood up again, brushed imaginary dust off my pants. I tried to look casual, like I wasn't a 70-year-old woman waiting alone for a ride that might not exist. I opened Instagram without thinking. I barely use it, mostly just to see pictures of the kids. Her profile loaded. The first photo punched the air out of me. 4 wine glasses. Clinking together, sunlight. Green hills rolling out behind them like a postcard. Caption, "Girls Trip Vibes, Napa Bound." My hands went numb. I scrolled. Another photo. Sunglasses, smiles, road trip energy. Tagged friends. Tagged locations. Napa. That wasn't running late. That was 4 hours north. My ears rang that buzzing sound when your brain refuses to process what your eyes already did. I called her again. This time she picked up. "Mom, hey." Her voice was loud. Music in the background, laughter. She sounded relaxed. "I'm at the airport," I said. Silence, just long enough to hurt. "At Lax," I added, like she might have forgotten where airports are. "Oh," she said. "Oh, wait." I closed my eyes. "You said you'd pick me up," I said. My voice didn't shake. I don't know how I managed that. "Well, yeah, but Mom, your birthday isn't until next weekend." My stomach dropped. "No," I said slowly. "It's today. The 16th. She laughed, sharp and defensive. "No, it's the 9th. I literally have my calendar open." I pulled the phone away. I looked at the date. March 16th, my birthday. 70. "I'm looking at it right now," I said. "Jessica." Another pause. Then, quieter, "Oh my God." There it was. Not concerned, not guilt. Realization. This Napa thing was planned forever ago. She rushed on. "Before we talked about your party, I didn't realize." Didn't realize. My throat burned. Like swallowing glass. "So, where am I supposed to go?" I asked. "You can just go to the house. Brad's there with the kids." "I'll call him." Something inside me cracked, not loud. "Not clean." "No," I said. "What?" "No, don't." She sighed. "Mom, don't do this. You're making it a thing." I looked around. Families, strangers, everyone is moving, living, watching. Me sit alone with my suitcase like lost property. "I didn't make this a thing," I said softly. She started talking again, fast, annoyed, but I didn't hear it. I hung up. And for the first time, the airport didn't just feel loud. It felt cruel. That wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what she did next after she realized everyone could see me. I stood there for a full minute after I hung up. Didn't cry, didn't move, just stood with my suitcase beside me like proof I'd existed long enough to be embarrassed in public. People brushed past. A woman glanced at me, then away. A kid tripped near my feet. Life kept going like nothing had happened. My phone buzzed. Then buzzed again. I didn't look. I picked up my suitcase and walked back inside the terminal. Each step felt heavier than the last, like gravity had decided to make a point. There was a coffee shop near baggage claim. I ordered tea because that's what I always do when I don't know what else to do. The girl behind the counter called me "hun," and for some reason that almost made me lose it, I sat at a tiny table by the window. My hands started shaking again. Worse this time. I wrapped them around the cup, burned my palms, and didn't care. My chest tightened, breath catching, eyes stinging. I stared out at the curb where I'd been waiting like an idiot. The tears came fast, then, not loud, not dramatic, just sliding down my face, unstoppable. I wiped them with a napkin, then another. My shoulders shook once, twice. "Get it together," I whispered. "Get it together." My phone buzzed again. I turned it face down. When I finally looked, there were missed calls stacked like accusations. Jessica, Brad, unknown numbers. Texts flooding in. "Brad is on his way. Where are you? You're making this worse than it needs to be." That one did it. Making it worse. Like I'd dragged myself to LA on a whim. Like I'd promised myself a party. Like I'd told myself to wait at B4 while they went wine tasting. I turned my phone off. Completely. Not silent. Off. Outside the window, a hotel shuttle pulled up. Unloaded passengers, pulled away. I watched it come back 10 minutes later. Decision made itself. The hotel across the street cost $189 a night. I paid for 2 nights because I couldn't handle the idea of going home yet. The room smelled like cleaning spray and recycled air. 2 beds. Floral bedspread. Parking lot view. It was perfect. I sat on the edge of the bed and let myself feel all of it. The anger, the shame, the grief I'd been pretending wasn't grief. Not just about today. About years. About every time I'd been busy when I needed help. Every holiday I traveled alone. Every check I wrote without being asked, hoping it bought closeness. I cried until there was nothing left. Then I washed my face, changed into sweatpants, and ordered soup because it felt like the bare minimum act of kindness I could give myself. That night, I didn't sleep. I watched TV until dawn. Animals surviving harsh places. Creatures glowing in the dark. Things adapted when no one helped them. In the morning, I turned my phone back on. 32 notifications. I deleted them without listening. Except one. "Dorothy, please let us know you're safe. The kids are worried." The same kids who didn't know my birthday. Who couldn't pick me out of a crowd. I texted back one word. "Safe." Then I did something I should have done years ago. I called my bank. "Hi," I said when the representative answered. "I need to stop the monthly transfers to my daughter." There was a pause. "All of them?" "Yes." Another pause. "Can I ask why?" I took a breath, slow, steady. "Because I'm done paying to be ignored." Silence. Then, quietly, "I understand." When the call ended, something inside me settled. Not happiness. Not yet. Clarity. That afternoon, I took myself to the ocean. Wore a navy dress. Sat on a bench facing the water. The wind was cold, honest. I took a photo. Just me. No filters. 70, still standing? When I got home 2 days later, my house welcomed me like it always had. Quiet, steady, mine. And that night, sitting alone at my kitchen table, I realized something that scared me and saved me at the same time. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern, and I was finally done being part of it. I thought walking away was the end of it. I didn't know it was about to cost my daughter everything she took for granted. The house was quiet when I got back. Same as always. No balloons. No banners. No sorry we missed you cake waiting on the counter. Just my house. My rules, my silence. I unpacked slowly. Folded the navy dress like it mattered because it did. Put the perfume back in the drawer. Still unopened. Still mine. My phone stayed face down on the table all afternoon. When I finally checked it, there were voicemails stacked on top of each other like unpaid bills. Jessica crying in one. Jessica is angry at another. Brad was calm but tight, like he was negotiating. Dorothy, this got out of hand. We're family. Families don't do this. The kids don't understand why you disappeared. Disappeared? I laughed, short, bitter, funny. I said out loud. I was right where you left me. I didn't call back. Instead, I sat down with a pen and paper. Not to vent. Not to cry. Just facts. $800 a month. 3 years. Car loan I co-signed. Never paid back. Emergency room bill. School tuition just for this year. Twice. Flights I paid for. Visits they never returned. The total stared back at me like it wanted an apology. $94,000. My stomach flipped. Not because I needed it back. Because I finally saw it clearly. I wasn't helping, I was funding distance. The next morning, I called my lawyer. She remembered me right away. Dorothy, is everything okay? No, I said. But I'm done pretending it is. We talked for an hour. Then another. I told her everything. The party, the airport, the money, the pattern. She didn't interrupt. When I finished, she asked one question. Are you sure? Yes. That word came easy. No shaking, no doubt. We changed everything. The house, the savings, the insurance, all of it. When I hung up, my phone rang immediately, like the universe was testing me. Jessica, I answered. What did you do? She demanded. No hello. No mom. I made changes, I said. You removed me from the account. Brad got an alert. What the hell? I stopped being your backup plan. She exhaled hard. You're doing this because of Napa. Because of one mistake. One mistake? I repeated softly. That silence again. The one she uses when she knows she's cornered. You embarrassed me, she snapped. You could have just gone to the house. I sat at an airport for over an hour waiting for you, I said, in public. On my birthday. So what? Now you're cutting us off. No, I said. I'm cutting myself loose. She laughed, sharp and ugly. You're being dramatic again. There it was. Same word. Same dismissal. I'm 70, I said. And I finally learned something. Love that has to be paid for isn't love. She started crying then, loud, angry tears. You're punishing the kids. No, I said. I'm teaching them something you never did. She hung up on me. I sat there with the phone in my hand and waited for regret to hit. It didn't. What came instead was quiet, deep, settled. That afternoon, someone knocked on my door. Emily. My niece, 27, holding 2 coffees and a bag of sandwiches. I figured you might not want to be alone, she said. I let her in. We ate at the kitchen table. We talked about nothing important. And somehow, everything important. She listened. Really listened. No defending. No fixing. When I finished, she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You didn't overreact, she said. You just stopped accepting less. That night, I slept. For real. No TV. No racing thoughts. Just sleep. Because when you finally close the tap, the leak can't drown you anymore. I thought the fallout would end with anger. I didn't know it was about to reveal who actually showed up and who never would. The next morning, I woke to the smell of toast. Not my niece's cooking this time, this was different. A knock at the door. Slow. hesitant. It was Tom, my son's friend. Really more like the one person I could trust to not act like a lawyer or a psychologist. He held a small box of pastries, like he'd been through a storm and thought, maybe I'd need sugar to survive it. "Morning, Dorothy," he said, voice soft, careful. "Heard about yesterday. Thought you might like breakfast." I let him in. We sat at the table, the silence stretching longer than it should have, filled with crumbs and half-empty mugs. You did it, huh?" he asked, finally. I nodded, closed the tap. He didn't flinch, didn't gasp, just nodded like it was the obvious thing to do. "Good, about time." I laughed softly, a little dry. "Time? You think it's about time? I spent 35 years waiting for someone else to care about me." He didn't say a word. He just poured coffee and slid a croissant toward me. The doorbell rang again. I didn't move. Emily peeked in from the hall. "Thought I'd check if you needed company again." I smiled. Really smiled. "Come in, kiddo." And that's when it hit me. The house was filling up, slowly. People I didn't expect. People I didn't know would care. And a few who didn't come at all. By noon, the house was a quiet sort of chaos. Boxes of sandwiches. Fresh coffee brewing. Laughter that didn't need explanation. I watched Jessica walk past the window outside, her car idling, hesitant, and I realized something crucial. My heart didn't twist when I saw her. Didn't jump. I didn't hope. Because hope, I finally understood, was for people who didn't leave the tap running so you could drown yourself dry. I spent the afternoon sorting through mail. The letters that arrived while I was gone. Bills, birthday cards, and the occasional postcard. Each envelope is a small test of my resolve. Some made me wince. Some made me laugh. And then there was Brad. He never came. Not a call. Not a knock. Not even a text, pretending to care. Funny, I thought. He spent so many years pretending I'd bend. And I didn't. Not even a little. That night, Emily stayed. We sat on the couch, blankets around our legs, watching the muted glow of the city outside. "You know," she said, voice low, "I think you scared them." I raised an eyebrow. "Who?" "The ones who never show up," she said. "They see you don't need them anymore. And well, they vanished." I nodded. "They always vanish. That's why I had to close the tap. Before I forgot who I was under all that giving." We stayed like that until the clock hit midnight. No apologies, no lectures, just quiet. And for the first time in years, no guilt. Later, when Emily left, I stood at the door for a long time. The house was still, empty, safe, mine. And I realized the truth. The fallout isn't just about anger. It's about clarity. Who steps up when the chips are down? Who can't? Who never will? I went to bed with that thought curled around me like a warm blanket. And in the dark, I whispered softly, almost to myself, It's not the leaving that hurts. It's realizing who stayed. Tomorrow, I'll see them again. The ones who vanished. The ones who stayed. And I'll finally learn if love without conditions even exists. Or if I've been dreaming all along." The morning sun cut through the curtains like it was trying to wake the whole world. But I stayed in bed a little longer, not out of laziness, out of anticipation. Today, I was facing them, the ones who vanished, the ones who stayed, the ones who thought love could be borrowed, lent, or demanded. Jessica came first. Her knock was sharp, like she was testing the door and me. I opened it. She didn't say hello, didn't hug me, just crossed her arms and glared. "You're really doing this, huh? Cutting everyone off." I let her words hang, heavy as dust. "I'm not cutting anyone off," I said softly. "I'm cutting myself free." Her lip trembled. For a second, I saw the little girl who used to hide behind my skirts, afraid of storms. And then she was gone, replaced by the woman who thought she could still lecture me at 70. Brad didn't come. Not even a message. Not even a sorry in passing. Funny, I thought, 35 years of excuses. And the first thing that vanished was him. I didn't chase, didn't call, didn't care. Emily came early, like she always did, carrying coffee and quiet support. She stayed close without hovering. I realized then these small acts of presence mattered, more than grand apologies or speeches. By afternoon, the house was filled with laughter, friends, neighbors, people who never needed me but stayed because they wanted to. The air smelled like freshly baked bread and sunlight. And in that space, I felt something I hadn't in decades. Peace. Later, I sat alone on the porch, the sky painting itself in shades of gold and pink. My hands, wrinkled and worn, rested on my knees. I thought about all the years I'd given, all the money, all the energy, all the chances I'd handed to people who couldn't care less. And I didn't regret it. Not really, because every wrong turn, every tear shed quietly in the bathroom, every sleepless night had led me here, to a place where I finally mattered to myself. Jessica tried again that night. She called, leaving a message, angry, scared, frustrated, expecting me to crumble. I didn't. I listened, smiled quietly to myself, and then deleted it. Love that has to be paid for isn't love. Love that waits for apologies isn't love. Love that abandons you to fix their mistakes isn't love. I understood now. The house stayed quiet, but in that quiet, I heard everything I needed. The laughter of those who stayed. The whispers of memories I cherished. The soft beat of my own heart finally listening to itself. I went to bed that night with no phone buzzing. No guilt twisting my stomach. No shadow of someone else's expectations pressing down on me. Just me. And that, I realized, was everything. The next morning, I opened the windows and let the light spill into every corner of the house. I made breakfast. I called Emily to see if she wanted pancakes. I watered the plants. I laughed at a memory of Brad trying to cook when he was younger. And, in all of it, I was free. The final truth. The one nobody had taught me. Not my children, not my friends, not even the world. The strongest love is the one you give yourself. The love that doesn't wait for validation, that doesn't bargain, that doesn't hide behind favors or gifts or money. I closed the door, turned the key, and walked into my living room, light pouring through the windows, the scent of coffee still lingering, and I felt it, the quiet, deep, settled joy that comes from finally choosing yourself. No debts, no apologies, no expectations, just peace. The tap was closed. The leak had stopped, and for the first time in my 70 years, I was whole. Some people will leave. Some people will vanish. Some will stay quietly, without fanfare, without drama. And you'll learn that love is not measured by how much you give, but by how much you protect your own heart.